It is a far cry from the commentary that Stephen A. Smith has been providing on the Black women population, in particular Jasmine Crockett.
Sometimes, man, a person can talk so much to get out of the depth.
He don't like his mama, so he don't like Black women.
Tone it down is normally used when we're talking about Black women in particular.
Some people are the kind of people who are like, hey, man, let's go protect ourselves. And some people are fighters. That doesn't mean that they're trying to you up or be against you.
Stephen should have stood on the square and talked his stuff, man. That's your show.
Tracee Ellis Ross had an idea that, you know what, marriage licenses should have an expiration.
It's an opportunity that we may not see as an opportunity just yet, just because it seems controversial.
Setting this time frame does not delegitimize the hope that your marriage will last.
We demonize humans growing apart, which is a natural thing, and we force them to stay together and then make them feel bad when they divorce.
After a year or two, you're like, man, I really, really like you. Instead of upgrading the ring, baby, we are upgrading the license.
Cardi B was, on her press run, and she was talking about how men are more respectful of marriages than some of y'all hoochies out there. When a woman tells a man she's married, his voice usually does not raise an interest. If a man tells a woman that he's married, her interest goes up more than goes down.
I think it falls more on the married person than it does the person they chose to cheat with.
100% of the times I've observed guys dealing with married women, the married woman slid on the guy.
Half of my DMs is full of men trying to holler, even though I'm married.
Welcome to yet another episode of the BLC Pod. And I got all my people with me, plus one, which we'll get to in a moment, along with getting into all of my people, pause, if necessary. Before we do that, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. Stay active in the chat, man. Y'all might actually motivate me to, get back in there with y'all pathetic people in the chat room. These are just jokes. I love y'all. Continue to chat away. And, of course, we got the merch, y'all. Which we won't see because I'm pointing towards the merch that I have hanging up, but we're going to have B-roll over it anyway. Speaking of having all of my people with me, one of the first people that was with me is my girl, SNM Jones in the building. What's happening?
Yes. I like to say coming to the stage, but I'm not coming to the stage. I'm sitting virtually. So with that being said, I'm super excited to be on the show because, yes, we have a +1, and +1s make me happy. Well, unfortunately for some people, 73% of men recently stated when they cheated that it cost them the best relationship they ever had. So that +1 didn't so-called benefit them. But my question is, did they ever learn or grow from that? I'm just curious because 73% of men are experiencing regret. It is what it is, sir.
But S&M, the fact that they're experiencing regret is a sign of growth, right?
I can see that. But did they change? But did that growth result in changed behavior is my question.
Not the woman needs already. I was just answering your first part.
Hey, did the
you
growth
said learn.
result in changed behavior?
You know what? The women should have stuck around and found it. You got to learn and grow, right? Okay, I got you. S&M. Speaking of teaching people to learn and grow, my man Jay is in the building.
Hey, it's me. It's Jay. I am on a couch meant for 4. You know what I mean? But it's all good. Glad to be here. They say everything's bigger in Texas. Speaking of things being bigger, apparently the prize now, the stakes are bigger. There's been a conversation of whether or not men were the prize. One lady answered it on the internet. She said, not only are men the prize, but if you make about 50 grand, you got yourself together, yeah, you are the prize, sir. Pat yourself in the back. You have done it. If you don't make that much, you got some goals now. You got something to reach towards. So people on the street, listen up close, man. Y'all guys, you keep working. You know what I mean? Everybody ain't got to be a big time baller. You just got to be patient. Be patient.
Yes. Appreciate the encouragement. You know what I mean? And the stats. Speaking of statistics, we got Delvin the Expert in the building.
What's good? I've been crunching the numbers all day, battling it out on the interwebs, fighting misandry. I know S&M gave us the stats about the guys that have experiencing regret, but 100% of the guys are experiencing misandry. I got into a really spirited conversation about, strong and independent ladies don't need no man. But I pointed out that, 90-something, like 98% of construction workers are men. Most of your engineers, your plumbers, electricians, HVAC guys, but they didn't seem to be impressed by that. So, we'll just go toil away and maintain civilization in the dark and cry in the dark too, because we're men and that's what we're supposed to do. So we just take our misandry on our back and we keep soldiering on. So that's what I've been doing. Nobody cares, but you know what, guys? I care.
If don't nobody else care, like Tupac, right? I feel you, you know what I mean? And I mentioned earlier we had a plus one. It's my honor to introduce Miss Natalie in the building. Pew, 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 pew. Whose plus one are you anyway? Like, who invited you? Now I'm just.
Actually,
you get on here.
I stumbled in here. I was like an AOL chat, and I just stumbled in here. Age, sex, location, ASL. Everyone, go.
What's good though? Talk to the people. Let them know. Like, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Natalie, also known as She Smokes Cigars. And I am on here to give some help to my girl SNM because these fellas in here be jumping on my girl, and that's not cool. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, but I'm sure I'll come back for a repeat. But yeah, I'm Jersey born and bred, living in Houston, and I'm on here for the shits, giggles, and shenanigans.
Shits? What was it? Shits?
Shits, giggles, and shenanigans.
Giggles. And shenanigans. Okay, well, buckle up, ma'am. There might be a lot of that on this particular show. Before we start the show, I got to give a shout out to Asia motherfucking Wilson. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to Lena and I'm like, yo, that's my crush. Like, she is my WNBA crush. This year, she killed it. I mean, we're talking MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. She was the Finals MVP. She was a scoring leader. I mean, what didn't she do for real, for real? You know what I mean? At a time that the WNBA is growing in prosperity, shout out to Caitlin Clark. But in this moment, though, it's about that sister right there. And the thing that I found most impressive, it wasn't the awards and the accolades and the championships. No, it was after that, she gave her daddy some love. She's like, hey, dad, And then she broke down into the biggest girl in the arms of Bam Adebayo. I was like, oh my God, the feels when the girls say, I was like, black love, you know what I'm saying? Couple goals. You know what I mean? To see this woman who is a beast on the court, an MVP, but in that moment, she wanted to be a girl in the arms of her man. You heard me? Like, baby, you believed in me. She was crying, all emotional. I loved that for them and for us, you know what I mean, for witnessing that moment. And let that be a lesson to the rest of y'all MVPs in the workplace. It's okay to come home and be the big girl that you want to be on the inside for that guy. You heard me? And I love that, man. I love her. So shout out to Asia Wilson and the Aces. I mean, them two, but it's really about her. That's my crush, boo. And bam, no disrespect, but I mean, handle your business, my brother. You heard me? But anyway, Asia Wilson, yay! You know what I mean? My WNBA. Oh, and speaking of women, listen, ladies, you need a little revitalization, a little rejuvenation. Check out glowupmde.com because your boy with the BLC get $100 off. Got to throw that in there because I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? And what better way? I'm sure Bam is like, hey, Asia, you want to go to Medellin? You heard me? It would be my honor to take care of him. Anyways, SNL, what are we talking about today? Asia, I love you, girl.
Okay, so first of all, I love this commentary pertaining to Asia. It is a far cry from the commentary that Stephen A. Smith has been providing on the Black women population, in particular Jasmine Crockett, aka Representative Jasmine Crockett, and Serena Williams. And so I just want to provide a little backdrop, and then I'm going to ask my question. So apparently Stephen A. Smith has already, as you recall, during the whole Kendrick Lamar halftime show, had this whole big whoopie-doo say about Serena Williams and how she was basically being disrespectful to her husband, and he would send her back over to the other side if she cares that much about her ex in that manner. And so it just so happened that somebody showed up on his show, Serena Williams' husband, Alexis
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? And so it turns out he called Stephen A about it. And guess what Stephen A did? He was a hummer. And I was like, wow, look at this far different cry for the smoke that he had for Serena. But let's talk about his latest smoke with Jasmine Crockett. Apparently, he has a lot of words for Jasmine Crockett, too. As a matter of fact, he basically called her ratchet and told her she needed to tone it down when she's talking to the president and question if her language and choice of language is actually benefiting her constituents. So I would love to get you guys' thoughts on, is this the tale of two Stephens? Is this a Stephen A when there's a man present and a Stephen A when he only talking to the women? What are y'all thoughts?
Ooh, that was spicy yesterday. Go ahead. Ooh, I like that. I'm sorry.
I personally don't think. First off, I'm not a huge fan of Stephen A. Nothing against the brother, just not a fan. You could say I'm neutral, all right? Unlike Stephen, you know what I'm saying? I don't just choose a side and jump on it, right? But it seems as I look at his calling, you know what I'm saying? And because somehow he appointed himself to be an official. And I started looking at his credentials. Like, how did he get to be official? And now in politics, he's an official in marriage. He's an official, you know, all these other things. And I was like, well, what's his pedigree, right? We're talking about a young man who had one season almost, right? In college, right? And then he got into sports broadcasting. He did anything. And we allowed him to talk about other things. But sometimes, man, a person can talk so much they get out of the depth, right? Or if they don't get out of the depth, they reveal their bias, right? Because I feel like, you know, love for the brother, you know what I'm saying? But he's given the self-appointed defender of the light-skinned brigade, right? Of the melanin deficient, right? From Drake to Trump to whomever, right? And then he gets to your boy, to Serena's husband, and now he you know, so maybe he's got a problem, you know what I'm saying? Not just with commentary, but making color commentary. Maybe his commentary is colored. Maybe it doesn't come as the same when it's pointed at let's say less melanated individuals, right? I don't know where the fire went. Y'all have to watch this tape and tell me I don't watch the man. What I can say is this. Right now, Jasmine Crockett is one of the few people who can speak Trump's kind of language, right? And she can speak truth to power from where she is, right? If he can't do that, he needs to leave her alone, sit down, let her do what she do. People elected her to do a job, let her do a job, man. Bruh, go find some sports to talk about, bruh. Go find some sports. You were a basketball player for a while. We let you talk about boxing. We let you talk about all this other stuff. Now you want to venture into politics and marriage. Stay in your lane, sir. Stay in your lane. That's all I got to say. Y'all go.
Man, look, Steven should have stood on the square and talked his stuff, man. That's your show, man. Alexis Ohanian can't fight and stand on your square. Like, man, this is my show. I said what I said. You can leave. You can go home. The hell out of here. So I'll say it with your old lady here too. You should have stood on it. I don't know. It was a bad look.
I think Stephen A. Smith is he don't like his mama, so he don't like black women. He has a problem with women that are outspoken in any way, shape, or form. Like Jay said, Jasmine speaks Trump's language. She talks the way she talks, Trump talks the way he talks. And for Stephen A. to step up and say that she needs to tone down and she's ratchet is just more of his hate toward his mama. So Stephen A. to take that to a therapy office and a couch and leave it off of social media.
Oh, God. Let's start. Fuck it. Let's start early. What the fuck are y'all talking about? Y'all are so off. I hate that I got to come in here and defend Stephen A. because I haven't watched First Take in a very long time. But because of this story, I decided to give a fuck. So I went back to look at what the fuck he had said. Now, the broad strokes of it for me was he was giving Shorty some type of strategic advice in regards to maybe how she could be impactful. Did he call her out her name? I don't think I heard that. Did he call her anything other than I think he said she was brilliant, et cetera, et cetera? Like, what's at the crux of any of this brouhaha? I am so glad that I just don't spend my time scrolling as much as I used to because I could really give a fuck. But I do think this is a teachable moment. Why? Because the real heart of it is what's at the heart of this? Right? Is it an old school dude maybe giving a young firebrand advice that she don't need? Okay, great. Then she won't take it. Okay, cool. Who gives a fuck for real, for real? Like the framing of it a certain type of way is funny to me. So he was away, right? I think not in the premises when Alexis Ohanian was on the show. So because he didn't address him on the show, when he made an offhanded comment in regards to how he would respond if his wife was doing X, Y, Z, which he's entitled to do. It's not giving marriage advice. He's not saying, hey man, you should do X, Y, Z. No, he's a fucking commentator, a provocative fucking tour. Most of us will talk about topics that people will question whether or not we should be even talking about it. right? Who gives a fuck? So yes, he is, you want to, obviously he's paid his dues in sports, and he's been somebody who has sowed his seeds in politics. Whether or not we watch his shows, it's not like he just came out of nowhere and is all of a sudden talking politics. Okay, so do you disagree with his approach? Do you disagree with his strategy? Okay, maybe. I didn't think it was necessarily off base. I think what people miss, though, is the fact that we had uncles who were a little bit more conservative than we are today. People who may have a different lens. It's almost like there's no room for anybody who has a conservative thoughts. So he tries to, I guess, walk that fine line. But again, until y'all could point to something specific that he said that was disrespectful, maybe he felt like, okay, you know what? I understand that these people are using you a certain type of way. And again, strategy, I don't know. I'm not the politic person here. But if he's making the case that they're using her as a political punching bag to win points, and then at the end of the day, what are you going to actively be able to accomplish, right? Because it's about doing stuff, not just sound bites. I mean, I guess if she's going to run for president, okay, great. This would be a great, story to tell at some point in time. But unless it's going to materialize into something, he's saying, hey, man, there's maybe a different way to go about doing this. And maybe you disagree with it, but I just don't get how all of a sudden this is like the lightning class that y'all trying to make it seem to be. So until y'all can point to me something specifically, that this is just another example of why we can't do nuance. Because again, at the heart of this brouhaha, what the fuck did he really say for real that y'all disagree with? Beyond the echo chamber that social media tends to be because people disagree with something that you said, and then all of a sudden they want to cancel you, man. Cancel that. You heard me? Which I gotta say,
Okay,
let me hear what the fuck he said that got y'all asses in such a fucking bunch. Oh, and I'm sorry, one last thing. I heard somebody say like, oh, Trump does this. That just tells me how dumb some of y'all are, because, or at least y'all thinking are, he's a fucking president. There's a power imbalance. Y'all women in particular talk about the power imbalance all the time. So in this situation, if you know that's the case, y'all don't go to y'all fucking jobs and fucking around the cages of the boss, even though you got good reason why, because it's a power imbalance. So it's not out of the world to say, hey, there's a power imbalance here. Maybe you want to try a little something different. So please explain to me what the fuck you said for real.
All right. So I love that question, because I'm going to go ahead and explain that in my explanation of why what he said was a issue, but it was an issue because he told her to tone it down. And it was like, tone what down? The rhetoric that the Republican Party always seemed to promote and speak on and so forth. Is so tone it down, though. Let's talk about the historical context of tone it down. Tone it down is normally used when we're talking about Black women in particular, and to say, hey, we need to police your voice, Black woman. We need to police what you say, Black woman. And that's what I heard. I heard him policing a Black woman's voice, because that's what we're supposed to do to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Palatable or pliable or agreeable or manageable, so that we can assimilate into whatever the perception is for that particular climate. Now, here's what I will say, though, is that she's using the language that's resonating with her people. She's using the language that's actually resonating with his people too, because that's the way they think, that's the way they speak. And we constantly talk about how we're supposed to meet people where they are. That's what she's doing. She's meeting people exactly where they are. Now, it's interesting that he didn't have any commentary for Laura Loomer. I think that's what her name was. But it's funny, though, because I understand, because Laura Loomer is not even in politics. She's just another fucking ugly ass face mouthpiece. So I get it why he didn't have any commentary to tell her to tone it down, or why he doesn't tell what's her name, Marjorie Green Taylor, to tone it down, who actually is another representative. But I get it, because it's easier to police Black women voices than to say, hey, you know what? Maybe everybody. This is one time when we could say, hey, maybe everybody should tone it down. Maybe the president and his people should take a step back and stop using this divisive ass rhetoric as well. Maybe that also decrease the violence that we're currently seeing. That maybe that also decrease the the increase in hate that we've also been seeing. Maybe that's where the policing should begin, not policing once again with the Black woman's voice. Last thing I'll say is, while the commentary was around the fact that she was using language that was for the streets, last time I checked, Pennsylvania Avenue was street. So sometimes street language benefits for the audience that you need. What I will note, though, is that he's fully within his rights to say what the hell he said, though. You know why? Because he's a commentator. That's what commentators do. They commentate. And if he calls himself providing her advice, because later on he doubled down on what he said, but then he pointed out and highlighted that he's not saying this in a disrespectful way, or that he's not saying this to demean her or anything, but he's just saying, hey, take a step back. Because what she did was list all her accomplishments, because he said, what are you doing for your constituents? So she was like, oh, well, let me show you. And so he went back and doubled down, because he also, while you pointed out women, it was actually a lot of men who came at him as well in regards to his commentary. I'm just going to say this. whenever we use certain terms, we already know the whole purpose of it is to silence our voices. And that's what he was trying to do silence. I won't even say silence our voices because that's an extreme. He was trying to moderate her voice. That's all. And it's not necessary to moderate her voice. Let her be her, just like everybody else who's elected for the very reasons that they're elected for. She's doing what she's supposed to do.
Okay, hold on, man. Hold on. So you almost had a case until you brought up Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene black or is she white?
Did he
She's
talk
white,
about
right?
her though?
No, you're saying yes.
When
she comes up in the news a lot. She's a lightning rod, unless you know otherwise. You're saying that, he didn't police her, and then making that case about it being about black women. Like, if you just care about black people's shit, then why the fuck is he concerned about policing her? Necessarily. That's one. Number two,
is he just concerned about black people shit? Because isn't he in the politics?
I'm saying, right, if he's choosing to speak about one person, you're pointing out Marjorie Greene Taylor and can't point out a point that he did not speak about her, right? But you're kind of using that, and I'm saying that, like, it's different if he is saying that as a black... That's a perfect segue to my next point, right? Is it ever possible that if a guy, is saying, hey, I see danger for you. I don't think this is the right path for you. And hey, I'm saying there may be a different way, whatever. Is it possible that's like not based off of silencing her voice? Like, there's never a point where it's like, hey man, maybe, because what we're doing is we're reading his intentions. Now, I'm not really trying to cape for Stephen A. What I'm saying is that we're choosing to read it a certain type of way. And I think it's plausible that unless we can find specific speech that says otherwise, that he could have felt like, hey man, listen, girl, I think you're this, and this, but be careful because this motherfucker in office is vindictive. We see what the fuck he's doing over here. And I don't know whether or not, big picture, this is going to be a good look for you if you want to be effective at the level that these Republicans are playing at right now. I don't understand how, like, y'all on one hand are saying these motherfuckers are out here wilding, right? Cool. But hey, sometimes some people are the kind of people who are like, hey man, let's go protect ourselves. And some people are fighters. That doesn't mean that they're trying to fuck you up or be against you. It just means they have a different approach to some shit. Y'all never consider that? That's not even a possibility at all?
It's a possibility.
It's the fact that he took it public. It's the fact that
he has a fucking show.
No,
but he could have called her straight up. If he was really concerned about her, he could have reached out to her. This was a show. He put on a show and he tried to use whatever was going on to her to make his show.
Exactly.
He did that.
Because he gets clicks and relevancy. If he was old school, like you said, old school Unc trying to give you game.
Pull you to the side.
Old school Unc would have called you on the phone or reached out to you and not did it publicly. That's not old school Unc style.
That's cap. That is cap.
Okay, you in the old school Unc.
We're in the content space, y'all. We're a bunch of fucking old school Uncs half of the fucking time giving our opinions about shit on this very fucking podcast.
That's because I don't have the
So how are we going to
sit there? Should you benefit from the advice you did?
I don't have their number.
Doing the exact same fucking thing.
Should you monetarily benefit from advice?
Come on, man.
Unsolicited advice. Should you monetarily benefit from it?
Y'all trying to spit it somewhere else. I'm saying he had commentary. Just like he's allowed to have on anything else, unless y'all could specifically point to some shit. Like, okay, y'all might disagree with whether or not the strategy. That's why I said what I said. But for y'all to sit there and talk about he was trying to silence black women's voices.
I didn't say he's trying to silence.
I said he was telling her to tone it down. And in using the term tone it down is historically used to moderate and tone and police. That's the term I use. Policing black women's voice. That's why I pulled back from silence and said he's not actually
you pulled back. But you did say it first, though, right? You said silence first, and then after you talked a little bit, then you're like,
no, maybe I said it from the beginning. That was the first statement I made, was that he was policing black women's voice.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I toned down the silence. Now I'm going to answer your question before you ask me this question.
Okay, go ahead.
To answer your question, when you say could have been him being this old school Unc and doing that, yeah, that's a plausible way he could have done it. But you know what happened? Did he tone down his tone when he was telling her? He was excited while he was talking. And as a matter of fact, when he talks on his shows, he's excited in general. Do anybody tell him to tone it down? When he's excited and expressing himself, anybody tell him to tone it down? No, because as a guy, as a man, he's actually, no, it's not, it's a rhetorical question.
It was a rhetorical question? Okay,
because I was going to answer it, because as a man, men are rarely told to tone it down, because when they show passion, when they show assertiveness, it's all viewed as yes. But when a woman does it, especially a black woman, it becomes, oh, she's doing too much. Oh, she needs to tone it down, particularly depending on the environment that they're in. So hopefully that answered your question.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay. So you don't think that black men have to move around and tone police ourselves a lot of times for fear of?
Y'all do.
No, that was rhetorical, ma'am. What I'm saying is that you act like it's specific to just Black women from a Black man's perspective. If that Black man has had to pipe the fuck down when there was other authorities in the places, he understands having to sometimes pipe the fuck down to be strategic just to make it home. We talked about telling our fucking boys that shit. So what the fuck are we talking about?
Okay.
So there's a potential that, hey, you know what? We as Black men know what it's like. Stephen A got fired before. He's not the Stephen A that we all know now. He's been through his own fucking journey before. So it's not like he hasn't been punished or penalized for being boisterous and all that other fucking shit. So it's possible that a person who's gone through certain things is like, hey, I don't know if this is going to necessarily work or mean well for you. I'm just pushing back on the need to frame a thing without enough consideration for the counterbalance. Because what we then do is act like anybody who speaks a certain type of way got to be on that type of time. So I'm trying to make space for the fact that there are older people who still have more traditional, like partially, like centrist Democrats who today would probably be like soft Republicans when you think about their core values. At the end of the day, there are Black people who believe these things legitimately. And the funny thing is, if I remember correctly, when they were talking about Uncle Tom wasn't the Uncle Tom that y'all niggas be talking about for real, right? So I feel like when we apply these things to people, we don't consider that maybe they are just choosing to live a different experience. That's why I'm pushing back on.
Hey, I support it. And I even understand that he do know how to tone it down because he did tone it down when he was talking to Alexis. So yeah, he know how to tone it down. I support that.
That was such, you want him to fight on the show? He wasn't even there in public. He said what he said.
Hey, I got it. Like I said, he do know how to tone it down when it comes to
y'all be using these false equivalences. These false equivalences don't serve y'all.
I agree with, listen, your take is definitely plausible. Yes, he could have been trying to just give her game. But sometimes the abuse can become the abuser. And there's times where if you come from old school hazing and stuff like that, you'll still do that to the next one because you went through it. So it might be twofold. In the way you see it, he could be giving her game and letting her know, hey, I'm showing you the way to avoid my mistakes. Or he could be like, no, this is what they did to me, and I'm going to do it to you because this is how it goes. You got to go through the process. So I think that his way of doing it was the latter, and he's hazing her the way he was hazed.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead, Delvin, man.
Oh, and I do want to point out a bit of misandry. I just talked about this because Nic made a really good point. Men, especially Black men, are told all the time to tone it down because whenever we are perceived to be doing too much or expressing ourselves, you know what we're called? By our own women, by the point. We're called sassy or emotional. So that's another way of being told.
Black man in corporate America, come on, man.
That's another way of being told to tone it down. So this happens to us all the time. The misandry is like you don't even see that it's even happening. So it's a thing.
Delvin, you know what else is a thing?
What's that?
Not a repeat.
I heard women be out here tripping, bro, on the socials. Were you talking about that earlier? Like, these women out here bugging.
Listen, they do. Apparently, look, I've seen this in my own personal socials on my timeline. I'm sure you guys have too. The hiding of your man. Ladies, why are you doing this? Take the little happy heart eye emoji face thing off of your man. Because I know you guys be like, oh, don't worry about who he is. He's good. I mean, I don't know if you think he's ugly or he belongs to somebody else. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a situationship. I'm not sure what it is. I've seen surveys about there's different reasons. I think having raw sex, you guys are having it raw with somebody you can't post online or tag. I think that's super weird. But what do you guys think? Why do you think women are hiding their man? Is it really because, I'm just private and I want to keep everything together and on the low? Or they listen, look, this is somebody else's guy. I'm just trying to keep the peace. I'll just post his hand. Maybe they can't identify him by his fingernails or something. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think there are two kind of people in the culture, apparently. They're the ones who go on those sites and they like, hey, are we dating the same guy? Right? They're those Facebook groups, right? There's someone out there. The T app, yeah. Yeah, they posting guys they're not even really officially connected to. And then there's other ones who are with these guys and they're not posting. And you got to ask yourself, why doesn't she want his face to be seen with her? And then you kind of got to go, look, she's insecure, right? Hands down. No matter what you can say about her, she's insecure. It's not even
now, Jay, is it plausible? We talked about plausibility earlier. Is it plausible that he is a celebrity of some sort?
If he's a celebrity, she wouldn't be posting like that. No, I don't think that's plausible. And if she was a celebrity, she'd do like all the other women do on Instagram. And they wait till you sleep and they snap a picture and they post it. And that's how you go viral. So no, I think that I lost my point with the celebrity thing. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. Sorry, Jay. Yeah. Delvin, he got it from here, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You. It's like he's coming down the court. He's got to get out of the way, by the way. It's okay.
I don't mind jumping in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, SNM. Jay, we'll come back to you. Okay, I got you.
So you get your thought back together.
Yes,
I'm just going to say that privacy isn't necessarily sneaky, right? So we're assuming that they're hiding because they're being sneaky, or we're assuming that they're hiding. But in reality, can it not just be everyone deserve to have their personal life personal? Can it be that everybody don't deserve access to your personal life? And let's be honest, there's a lot of people, men in particular, who post just cars, money, and food. They don't post their woman. But it's not called, oh, he's hiding her woman or hiding his woman, right? So, but let's stick to the topic, which is about women hiding men. Hey,
yes.
I'm just
Thanks,
saying.
SNM.
So, with that being said.
But we all posted pictures of her with no fucking emoji over it. That's a difference. So let's not compare the two.
When y'all finally post, y'all do post a picture. But for the most part, most men.
That's right. We actually post her a body part. We post her. Not no like little peaky, little fucking Etch-a-Sketch. Right. Okay, but go ahead.
With that being said, so women aren't hiding men. I think they're actually hiding from judgment. They're hiding from comment. They're hiding from DM chaos, maybe, because sometimes when women know other women have something or someone, all of a sudden there's some negativity that comes into their life surrounding that man. So perhaps there's an opportunity for them to keep their private life limited access. And I don't see anything wrong with that. At the end of the day, the internet ain't for everybody. My personal life don't need to be flashed on. Matter of fact, I hardly ever post my husband on my social media page. And you know why? Because it's none of anybody goddamn business who I'm with, and I've been with him for 26 years as far as marriage. So, but it's okay. He also doesn't like to be posted. So have we ever considered the fact that the man may not have wanted to be posted? Maybe he wants to be private. I don't know. It just seems like there's multiple ways that this could actually go, and it doesn't have to be nefarious or nefarious.
It depends on the person, right? If you're with somebody who has posted past partners on their social media and then they're not posting you, now we're hiding something. But if this person has a history of not posting partners, period, then that's just who they are, and they're just a private person in that regard. But if all of a sudden now you're not posting anybody, but you're posting the elbow or a pinky or a shoelace, that's a different story. So I think we have to just look at the person as a whole versus just one snapshot on one particular post.
Yeah, no.
You want to go back in there?
Yeah, I'm feeling why post? You know what I'm saying? If it ain't safe to post, why are you posting? Right? You're trying to prove something, but you can't prove it fully. That's why you got this face block. That's why I'm saying there's some insecurity there. You think somebody's going to steal your cheese and move your cheese, right? Because if it's really your cheese, you post your cheese proudly if you want to post. So it's mixed messages. It's like subliminal. I think there's a problem there. I think, sir, if you with a chick and she got your face covered, either A, nah. She hiding you, bro. You not like, don't feel safe. Don't feel safe.
Why is
bro.
she insecure? Explain the insecurity part to me.
The insecurity is if she's afraid somebody's going to take this man. That's why she's not posting like, oh, I'm just going to be so private. I don't want everybody in my business. They don't have to know what's going on. You know, if she thinks that people's attention on her man is a threat to her relationship, she is insecure. Okay?
No, that's not true, Jay. That's not
but
true.
Don't most insecure people tend to overdo things versus underdo? So most times if you're insecure about something, you're going to pee on the tree more or less than you'll just mark the tree silently. You want people to know this is mine because you're insecure. So I'm trying to understand how the insecurity plays into hiding.
It depends on the source of the insecurity. If the insecurity is self-worth insecurity of, I need people to know I have a man. This thing ain't locked down. This may not be really what I'm playing it to be, but I need to post up with a figure that people can see, look, I got somebody. Then yeah, that's still insecurity.
Okay.
Yeah, what Jay is saying is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. I speak Mananese.
All right, go ahead.
Correct me. Jay is saying that if she's restricted to only showing a partial picture of him, the reason why she's doing that is because she's insecure. And she's afraid, right, of showing the full picture of him because she's afraid that somebody might come and take him. Is that about right, Jay?
Yes, someone will come and mess up her vibe. Yeah.
Right. So she has more of a manipulative insecurity. So she manipulates the actual situation too. Because that's what it sounds like. That's more of a control thing, right? I don't want anybody to take my man, so I'm going to only show partial.
No.
If you call it that.
Okay, let me help y'all. Because we're meandering.
I understand what he's saying. I'm just pushing back. I'm not ignorant to what he's saying. I get his point. I'm just pushing back
on which part?
The insecure part, because I do agree insecure can show up different ways, right? But so what I'm just defining is the other way. So what I'm hearing you say is when you're saying she's insecure and she's hiding him because she doesn't want anybody to take him, that's more of a control, manipulated insecurity versus a person who could just be more of a codependent insecure where they are overdoing it, showing more affection in public. Why don't you hold my hand? Why are you walking so far? Why don't you sit closer to me so everyone sees it? Because that's also an insecurity. So I'm not disagreeing with your point. I'm just more clarifying this version of insecurity.
You want to next layer down.
Yeah, I'm a little layered.
Listen, that's another layer of womanese. Thank you for introducing that. You know what I mean? Not everybody's advancing that.
It's not womanese. It's just humanese, sir. Men do it too.
I mean, listen, he said insecure, and then you just were like, this Jill deeper.
I'm not
mad. I'm just saying that exercise was an exercise of womanese, but it's okay. But listen, okay, so S&M is, first of all, right here. I'm gonna agree with her. I'm gonna start there because it resonates with me. Some of us don't even want to really be on your socials like that. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm an outwardly engaging person, but I don't post my personal shit because it's not really none of y'all fucking business. I think, being able to keep some of your shit private is one of the key ingredients to maintaining some shit because y'all be letting way too much of the world into your relationships. And so yeah, right? Now, but here's the caveat though, right? Because if you're not going to post me, you're not going to post me at all. It's not going to be a situation where you intimating that you're with me, but yet you're not with me. Or are you with me? I'm so confused and I can only imagine that everybody else is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think if we're talking about hiding men, that's a strong word. I get the idea because I think I saw the story this came from. There are women saying that, hey, until he's mine, I'm not posting him. I salute that. You shouldn't post no nigga that ain't yours for real, right? As long as he's willing to be posted, right? It's not just a you decision, right? And so if you're with a guy who does not want to be posted, you have some tough choices to make if you're a poster. I think Natalie or somebody had mentioned that earlier, but honestly, if you're talking about actively hiding, like, yeah, I'm with this old guy who's 75, he's white, yes, he's paying for this trip. I don't want social media to know that I had to basically become sweetie to be able to be out here in Tulum. So I'm going to hide my white sugar daddy. Let's keep it a buck. Or the African scammer, who I think is ugly as fuck, but fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying how ugly it is when I'm sucking his dick to Tulum. So my point is, yes, for women who are hiding, there is a plethora of reasons why they're hiding. I think Delvin said it. It's somebody else's nigga. You know what I mean? Like, yes, bitch. And you know what's so conniving about that or so diabolical? That bitch will post a picture of that nigga wrist and pinky, purposefully try to signal to the main chick that, hey, yo nigga's right here, right? And her ass, if she's paying attention, might be like, my nigga's nail is chipped just that way, right? That's how diabolical the shit be when y'all start playing these subbing internet games. You get what I'm saying? So fellas, okay, if you're going to be out there fucking around, okay, make it clear you don't post nothing, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, bitch, I gotta confiscate your phone out here. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas be having shit to lose. And you out here playing internet games. Hide me, goddammit. Okay. Unless you want to be out front, which I don't know what benefit that would have to any real man. Ooh, hey, post me, get the fuck out of here. That shit's corny. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
And look, just to loop this back to the misandry thing, we know if guys were posting pictures of that girl with the heart face emoji over her face, women would go nuts. Don't say you wouldn't, ladies. Like, don't worry who she is. She's good. Or if I'm just posting, my girl's elbow or something, women would go crazy. Like, he's hiding her. He's
I'd rather you not post me
abusive.
at all. Don't post a part of me. If you post me or don't post me at all, but no in between.
I'm posting your knees.
Not the knees. That's what she got done. We good
That's
on
it.
that one? Oh,
yeah.
I did want to say this though, about this one thing, right? Well, this soft launch shit has got to stop, y'all. Shout out to Sarah Fontenot. If I get her last name fucked up, kudos to her. But her soft launch, it was all right. I fucked with it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But that's what women do, Delvin. They got the soft launch. So it's like, hey, weeks 1 through 3, I'm going to post this. It's going to escalate. You know what I'm saying? They're hoping that by week 12, they can show the nigga because it means they made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the ring anymore, Delvin. It's can I post a nigga on social media? Congratulations, boo. Anyways, speaking of women that I really fuck with, but I guess never got married, but be talking marriage though? Okay. I mean, okay. Anyways, Tracee Ellis Ross, my boo, one of my favorites, had an idea. Apparently it wasn't to say I do, but instead it was to say, it was to say that, you know what, marriage licenses should have an expiration, right? After about 4 or 5 years, it automatically expires. And you have to be the one to actively go out there and renew it. She felt like, you know what better way to keep people more actively engaged, right? When your driver license come up, what you do? Go and renew it, right? Because you want to be on the road, right? So I think she's making that correlation. So what are y'all thoughts? Like, is this something that with the state of things in our community that we really should consider?
I personally love this ideal, and I'm going to tell you why. I love it because relationships evolve, love changes form, and sometimes it just ends. And that's not a failure, that's growth. I think giving people this opportunity may actually encourage more marriages in our community because the biggest thing we hear is this whole romantic forever. And nowadays, men and women both are hesitant on the whole forever piece of it, right? To death do us part and so forth, especially considering when we talk about the divorce rate and just divorce in general. So if you have 5 to 7 years and the best part about this to me is that if you really want this person, then that means you're going to show up as your best person every day. If you really want, or maybe the last 6 months, but at the minimum, because people have short memory, but at the minimum, you're going to put in the effort to make sure you keep this person if that's the person who you really want to be with. And I actually think it'd be cool if they do it like the license where I can just auto renew online, right? After having discussions like, oh yeah, I'm auto renew, same pick and everything. So the ideal to me that love, and while, like I said, I've been married for a long time, and while I think it's romantic, this whole Disney fantasy and all that good stuff, I don't think it's realistic in modern times right now as we currently stand. And so this provides more opportunity. Now, do that mean the divorce rate may actually go up? Yes, but it also means the marriage rates go up because every 5, it's like a car. Like you guys like to use analogy. Now, this is a place where the car analogy is perfect. You trade it in after 5 years.
All this time, after all these seasons, that's
finally got it.
This is the
She finally came around.
it, right?
It suits her.
And I think
this analogy suits her now. That's why
It only took 6 seasons.
It only fits her narrative. It works now.
And it so happened to work out because you guys compared it to a driver's license. I'm like, you know what? Let's use the whole car analogy all the way around then. And I think that a lot of times women would just be more honest about their emotional fatigue if that's the cost of them leaving the relationship. And men won't have to worry about cheating. They can just leave. Like, oh, well, we're hitting this 5-year mark, or well, we're hitting this 4-year mark. I'm getting that 5-year itch. So let me go scratch that. And so I don't know. I just think it's an opportunity that we may not see as an opportunity just yet, just because it seems controversial.
And look, I think that, of course, I grew up in a household where you were told marriage is forever. But my aunts were mostly divorced and my mom was divorced. And so clearly marriage is not forever for everybody, right? So setting this time frame does not delegitimize the hope that your marriage will last. What it does is it does make more accountability more present there. I think SNM had a great point with that. Because if you know, hey, in 5 years, this person could bolt, then you're going to try to show up so that if you like this arrangement, this partnership that you all have, this relationship, you're going to try to make sure they renew. You're going to try to give them reasons to renew all the time, right? So many times people make decisions even more frequently than 5 years, like, do I really want to stay in this marriage or not? And it's great that conversation would already the ice would be broken on it, right? I think that's great. But I think there's another part that is even better. Because if you did know that your marriage was up for cancellation or renewal in 5 years, you'd negotiate a whole lot better. You would plan the end at the beginning and say, listen, when we separate, this is if we separate, if in 5 years this don't work, we separate like this, and this, and this, and this. It can be amicable because there's already space here for you all to see each other on to another place. You know what I mean? If you don't want that, then you just do what you got to do to make it work. I think it's really, really good. So many people get married and they feel like their spouse switched up on them. They don't love them the same. They don't move the same. They feel like they're trapped by society that says, it's to death do you part. And they don't want to catch a murder charge, and they shouldn't, right? Don't do that. So, of course, they stick it and they're miserable, but they hope for the person, to leave, right? And that's terrible. So this way, nobody has to leave with hard feelings. Everybody knows we are taking this one day at a time. And then in 5 years, we're going to be like, hey, you still good? Yeah, I'm still good. Or however long it takes, right? And maybe the time couldn't even have to be set by everybody. You could pick your own time. But I think it's a great idea. I know it flies in the face of what marriage is traditional, but marriage needs to change. People are changing. Relationships are changing. And I think this is a great way for it to evolve with it.
Yeah, I agree. Jay, you actually took my point. I've had this conversation before, and I was saying that marriages should have an expiration date. And in the beginning, you decide when it ends, how everything gets divided up when you're still in the midst of the love and the googly eyes, right? Because at the end, when it's nasty, now you're doing things out of spite. Now we're just doing stuff to be petty instead of actually saying, hey, listen, it didn't work out. Let's just do what's best for both of us. So I agree with Jay's point. I'll add to that we change. I mean, as we get older, our wants and our needs change, and they change a lot. From 20 to 40, it's a whole different desire and goal. And when you're in your 20s, you guys have whatever in common, silly stuff, pickleball and cars with rims. And then you get to your 30s and it's different because now your careers are different. One may travel for work, one may want to work from home, and the other one's tired of traveling because they travel for work, and the other one wants to go out. And it happens, and it's okay that these things happen, but we demonize humans growing apart, which is a natural thing, and we force them to stay together and then make them feel bad when they divorce. So I think having this implemented would allow for people to trade in their model and try something else. And you know what? They may double back after moving on for 5-10 years and be like, you know what? Such and such was a better fit for me, and come back and say, hey, let's try it again.
Well, listen, you know what? I thought about this a lot today, and I really just, I like, what would this look like? There's one thing to say, like, how structurally, what would this look like? So we use the driver's license analogy. So I said, okay, let me break this out into classes of marriage. So I did class A marriage. That's your standard marriage. It's your Disney. It's your happily ever after. This is your lifetime subscription to marriage, which is what you have now. Nothing changes. Okay. Then we get to the Tracee Ellis Ross license, which I call the Class B license. This is one, it's a little more mid-range. It lasts, maybe 5 to 10 years, maybe in that 7-year range. That's your Class B marriage license. Okay. Then we get Class C license, which I call I'm trying to see something license. Okay. This kind of shaky. This will last maybe 1 to 3 years. And you know what? That gives you the opportunity to. It's a provisional marriage license. After a year or two, you're like, man, I really, really like you. It wasn't just the vibes. You know what? Instead of upgrading the ring, baby, we are upgrading the license. We are going all in. We might upgrade to the lifetime subscription. I fuck with you that heavy, right? So there's some room for growth. And then, of course, I can't forget about the alternative community, the Class P license for the polyamorous people. And that's just acknowledging that there's more than 2 people in the marriage. You don't have to get it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. It's just available. So that's my 4 classes of marriage licenses: Class A, Class B, Class C, and Class P. I think that would work. I have to dig into it a little more. But what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, let me be the first to say that was brilliant.
Bravo.
I mean, come on, man.
Bravo.
I mean, you're really,
that's
that, you took that analogy, that was brilliant for real. I honestly agree with all of that as far as like the different classes and all that. I think you took that to the next level, 1000%.
I'm going to see some license. It's hilarious, by the way. to see something
That
like
Class C is a learner's
the Class
permit.
C is hilarious.
That's fire though. That's fire, right? Like, so because what that does is you allow the individual couples to make that commitment. Because this is what I was going to say, right? I agree with most of what y'all was saying initially, but I was digging deep into my soul to try to find a contrarian way to oppose you all, because that's almost as fun as just doing this pod in general, right? It's like, I cannot trigger them and, but then when Delvin spoke, he kind of broke the ice a little bit because I was getting ready to go in a little bit, right? So I think what I loved about Delvin, what Delvin said was he's stratified, right? So we're not making this a thing for everybody. Right? Because if you're scared, just say you're scared. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to get the other classes, cool. Y'all go ahead and do that. And so I guess my problem solving, solution thinking oriented person says, yeah, this would be great for the lesser of y'all who don't know anything about commitment, who don't really want to go down the road of self-exploration and hold yourself accountable to someone for lifelong. Like, can you do that license thing with kids? Oh, no, right? Because they're a lifetime commitment when you have them. Oh, okay. So we're talking about having them like in a marriage too. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on, I get it that yes, you can do your renew every 5, right? I get it. But I feel like there's a lot of people who would use that as a means to run the fuck off, because I think the way that she described the idea was that after 5 years, you would automatically fall off and you would actively have to renew. Right? It's a difference that if it was automatic and you had to actively like opt out, right? I think if it's that way, then maybe you have some safeguards. But it sounds like to me, if you're talking about that way, it'd be an excuse for some of y'all, because I might have been to some of y'all, let's be clear, around year 5, it's like, yo, deuces, because it was about year 4 where it was like, oh, touch and go. Right? Like, oh shit, my renewal is coming up. Whoops. Well, right. So I guess for the sake of conversation, and really within myself, I just question whether or not, if you ain't built for it, then maybe it ain't for you. But then we want people I don't know, because I kind of feel like part of the journey is that commitment part, right? Like, yes, it doesn't work out sometimes, true. But I feel like if it's rooted in that type of commitment, do you try harder? Do you fight longer? Do you evaluate deeper? Are you more accountable? Are you willing to do all the things just to make sure that when you said I do, that you wasn't bullshitting back then? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I do like it theoretically. I do like it in practice because, I mean, shit, a lot of y'all ain't getting married anyway. So shit, at least we get one on the ledger for the good guy, even if it's only a 4-year. You know what I mean? But I think if we're talking about the thing that marriage represents in terms of family, the things that we talk about like legacy and shit, I mean, yeah, you can probably plan that and do that with 5-10 year increments. I just think it hits different when both people are committed to trying to do it for a lifetime as opposed to just trying to make the next renewal date. But I don't know. What do I know? I mean,
no, I think you made a really good point, Nick. And to build on that, I think like the Class A down to like the Class C ones, like the Class A ones, you get more protections, and like the Class C ones, like, listen, we got to stop the 90-day fiance stuff, the scammers. So you don't really have a lot of protection with the Class C, And I think, this is a self-correcting problem to a degree too, because if you got somebody in your life, you're like, man, I'm not getting you any more wedding gifts. You get married every 3 years. We're going broke getting you wedding gifts every 3 years. Stop it. So I think that problem might fix itself to some degree.
You could tie the kids to the Class A, right? If you're going to have kids, you got to have a Class A. Just all right. Go ahead. Sorry, SNM. Sorry for yelling.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was actually going to transition. So you got anything else?
No, we'll flush this out throughout the rest of the season, I think. But you made a good point, Nick.
I'd love to hear about it in the comments, though, the feasibility of Class A with kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it might work. Maybe I run on a platform. Who knows?
Delvin, that was brilliant, bro. I love that. I think that's a legit, like, different classes. I love that idea for real, bro. For real. Okay.
Yeah, we'll flush it out.
So I support it, especially considering that Class A gets more benefits to include, it comes with a lifetime of a child, the children guaranteed warranty, although technically we have a whole bunch of people out there that's having babies without any type of license in place. So Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I think it's worth the conversation as well. But interesting enough, that is great to our next topic in regards to women do not benefit from marriage. Is this fact or fiction? And this came up because we saw a clip of a woman stating that women do not benefit from marriage, or at least modern marriage, and she pointed out some things such as the fact that men are now, men live longer than married women. She also points out how, women are now providers as well. And so therefore that need to have a provider in a relationship no longer exists per se. And so I'm just curious, what are y'all thoughts? Do we no longer benefit from marriage?
I know no thoughtful person on this panel is going to say disagree with this disgusting thing. Who would do such a thing? Who would agree with this? Anyone? Bueller?
I will.
You can't
Have
just
some context, but we'll wait for that. I don't necessarily agree with this as a married woman. However, I would be more than happy to speak from some of the commentary that I've heard.
Okay, so for clarification, did she say that women don't benefit at all, or it's not as beneficial? Because I feel like to say don't benefit at all is a hard thing. Like, did you say that, or because I'm trying to understand? Does anybody agree with that?
So she's basically saying that women don't benefit. It's not as beneficial to women to get married in today's times, basically. So that's basically what she's saying. It's not that we don't benefit at all, but we don't benefit. It's not beneficial enough.
Well, I think because the part that I think when she compared it to the guys, it was like clearly she was making the case that marriage is more beneficial to men because married men versus single men show up a particular way, right? And she was comparing that. And I think she was also making the point that married women compared to single women, to your point, right, in regards to statistics. So I guess she was kind of saying that, I guess you're trying to correlate that to say that marriage isn't as beneficial. Like it's better to be single than it is to be married. I guess that's what I was kind of getting from what she was saying.
So that's also what my take was, because the correlation between the married man and the single man, and then the married woman and the single woman, was that basically single women still report being happier and so forth compared to married women. And then adding the statistic that married men live longer, which is actually interesting because in marriages, the men actually, even though they live longer than single men, they still have a tendency to die before their wives. So I thought that was interesting as well. But yeah, so she's basically just saying it's not as beneficial. So it sounds like, that's why I'm like, is it fact or fiction here?
I mean, I'll just say this one stat that got missed was that 47% of single women lie about how happy they are in not being in relationships. So I think that would probably throw that out
That's what we're doing now. I love it.
Well, hold on.
It sounds reasonable.
Her stats aren't made up. I mean, who are these women that she's talking to?
They actually did a study on women happiness. And so I read it a while
It's self-reported
ago.
though, right?
And so, yes, it is.
Exactly. Which is why I said 47% of women in those reports lie.
Telling you what they want you to hear. They say comparison is the thief of joy. And I think this is a part of that. I think people always want what they don't have. And so, of course, the single people look over at married people and go, man, if I was married, I'd move like this because marriage is this. And the married people go, man, if I was single again, I'd probably do this or that. I don't think that anybody, if somebody has it better, it's simply because if someone has it better, it's because they went into it knowing what they wanted out of it, right? And making sure they had those things when they went in. And if not, they stayed there in mind for the things that they wanted. They worked into the thing until it was fulfilling. So unless she's measuring a person's will, that she's saying women are somehow less willing to work for it to be better, and therefore they're better off not working to begin with, I think her whole argument is spurious. I think it's that, hey, I'm looking over at somebody else's happiness, trying to measure my own. She's saying, okay, men live longer, men get benefits, whatever. She's like, where are my benefits? Your benefit is companionship. Your benefit is having somebody who holds you down, because the single person doesn't quite have that. They may have a bevy of best friends, and that's beautiful. And sometimes in my life, I thought maybe that was all I needed, was just to have a bunch of best friends. You want somebody that's with you for the long haul, right? And in that thing, I don't see where there's a comparison. I think time and chance happens to everybody. I think this lady was looking for a stat and reached up and grabbed one out the air because she couldn't put her hands on a man. Go ahead.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that marriage is beneficial to both men and women in similar instances, living longer, shared income, split up the household, all that good stuff. I think the difference, I would say, is I think women go through more dealing with the man and his outside activities in a lot of cases, having to put up with things, whether it's scuttlebutt or fact, but dealing with the coming home late or the other woman potentially, or with the fellas, or just having more time outside the home and less time together as a couple. And sometimes women become shells of themselves because they have to limit their light and make themselves smaller just to keep the family together, but they're not happy per se. And I think it happens to women more than men. Not saying it doesn't happen to men, but I think women have to deal with men roaming more so, or have to accept a man's behavior because they're boys being boys.
I think women actually benefit a great deal. You know who says so? The U.S. Census Bureau. And you can check all the numbers. You're far less likely as a woman today and going back historically to live in poverty if you're a married woman. I know women that got the boss babe thing now and everybody's, doing their thing. And that's true in some cases, but overall, you're far less likely to be in poverty if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman with children. So it does benefit economically from the two-parent household standpoint. And you know what? A lot of guys, if you had to hire a handyman, an exterminator, there's a lot of things that go on around the house too that men take care of. So that's a benefit too. Like me, I do free tech support at the house. She doesn't have to call the geek squad. I'm just taking care of it. I probably got a bug right now I need to go take care of that they want killed. So I think it does benefit women, and I think it's cap. I don't. Could you argue less? Maybe, maybe. But you know what? Women fought to be in the corporate world and be boss babes and work 9 to 5 or whatever their shift is. Women fought for that. So if that's the issue, then I don't know. Sucks to suck. That's you guys spent 50 years fighting for that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, is it a benefit? I mean, I could get a roommate that could do those same things. I don't have to be married to that person for him to split the bills or come and fix something in the house. Or it could be a female roommate. So is that really a benefit that you could turn a wrench and that you have a job and you help me pay the bills?
Yeah. Is that a real question?
Somebody got to turn the wrench.
No, what I'm saying is that he's saying that it's a benefit in marriage, but I can get that same benefit outside of marriage. It's not like it's exclusive to marriage is my point.
I would disagree a little bit. Can you get it consistently outside of marriage? Can you get it like in terms of like the commitment of it?
24/7?
Because it's like, I think, just to assume that, yes, I can do certain, you can call somebody, you can do TaskRabbit, sure. But like, there's more to that person. And so I think what the people have been saying, at least what I've heard, is that what the person brings to a relationship is hard to quantify. So if you're trying to quantify and say, oh, this is a way that it's not a benefit to you, then I think that's where we kind of get into the weeds a little bit, right? Because it's not just about like the fixing of things around the home. I think Jay mentioned companionship, somebody to talk to, right? But I feel like we be letting white women do this. Let me correct myself. Y'all be letting white women do this to y'all. This is almost like a perfect example of how y'all would let white feminist talking points affect how you choose to look at a situation. Because when she was talking about statistics, maybe she's right, but she was a white woman talking to another white woman. So I'd have to imagine that when she talks statistics, she's also including white women. Right. And I wonder how much the numbers change because, brothers, man, diabetes, all the other shit that kills us, police. Right. So this idea that somehow we're living longer than our wives is not for real. Right. And then I would love to see specifically how Shaquan, is doing without Daquan. Like, I want to see those specific stats. But what I'm saying is that what Black women will hear is this fucking rhetoric and believe it. And let's just say, by some myth, it's bullshit. Let me tell you why, because it goes back to the point that I was making. You're talking about like self-identifying studies. Oh, how do you feel about being happy? Are you happy? Right? Okay, great. Maybe you could talk about the death numbers and all that shit. But damn, if you lost 3 years of your life, but you gave life and your life will continue, but the other person didn't, wasn't it worth your 3? You can't count them the same. Your barren, non-existent life having ass just didn't have the same experience. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying don't sit there and try to make it seem like women who might value marriage because they should, right? Somehow, girl, it's better over here. And then black women fall for this fuck shit, right? And then all of a sudden, the strife in the black community, we talk about all the time how they want to keep us from being together. This is the bullshit right here. Girl, you don't value. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, that's number one. Number two, just because you're doing it wrong doesn't mean the thing was wrong. Okay, some of y'all be getting married for dick and vibes. Okay, sorry, that's not enough to decide to say I do. The nigga is knocking the dust off that pussy, and you thought that was enough because he didn't show up for you. He hasn't supported you. He hasn't financially been there for you. And somehow, because he got on one knee and called your mama and them, you thought you should say yes. Oh my God, my baby, fuck out of here. Okay, so if y'all are doing it wrong, that's a y'all problem. Like driving, it ain't the car's fault. It's your driving. That's the problem. Okay, I hate to be the person to break it to you. Okay, so in summation, okay, it's never really the thing, right? The thing is just a tool. It's a vehicle. So marriage, this, single, that, everybody got a hard. Single people got a hard. Married people got a hard. You choose your fucking hard. If you think that you get an extra year or two by being by your fucking self, good luck. Nobody's knocking that. I can tell you the immense value that I find not having to be alone with someone that I actually care about, who cares about me, you know what I mean, who fills in the holes and the gaps, you know what I mean? I get it. Some of y'all are used to solo players. Okay, cool, no problem. But don't sit there trying to make it seem like somehow, statistically or empirically, that you are, fuck you. A lot of somebody else who want to believe this shit, okay? Because the people who are actually doing it right, or at least in some modicum of, or at least enjoying their experience, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, is what somebody said. And if you truly, I think, even for me, if we got divorced tomorrow, man, I got a good 20 up in this motherfucker, nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? You no regrets here. The fuck are y'all talking about?
Go ahead with your Class A license.
Listen,
Talk about it. I said, yeah, talk about it.
The Class A license shaming.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to point out the Class C license is the Dick and Vibes license. Class C.
That's commitment. Now, if you're going to get a license, don't do that. Don't do that, Delvin. If a brother took his ass down there to get a Class C, even if it's off of Dick and Vibes, do not rob him of not being marriage-minded. We're not going to do that if you're going to introduce a Class C, bro. Don't do that.
We got to put that as a learner's permit.
That's a learner's permit.
Just Dick and Vibes. That's
okay, yes.
Yes.
Thank you, SNM. Thank you. That makes more sense. Don't give him a Class C talking about, no, bro. He married too, bro.
All right, Class D. We got a Class D license.
Actually, that's perfect. The Class Dick and Vibes. Yes.
So I was looking at this video, and the first thing I noticed was her age. And so I was thinking her age coupled with the perception of her race, right? Coupled with where we are now, or at least where they are now, right? Which is basically the transition from the first feminist movement all the way to where they are now. And my first thought was, get the fuck out of here. That was my first thought. And then I said, wait, no, because I've studied this. I've actually went back and I've studied this, you know? And I said, well, let's see why she says marriage isn't for, doesn't benefit women as much. And it's because historically in their world, not our world, but in their world, marriage was never about love. It was about labor and lineage, and women provided unpaid domestic work and child care, emotional labor, and the men gained stability and respect, and they had that all built-in caretaker. That was in her day and a little bit before her day, because she was a relatively older geriatric woman. And so I was like, oh, so this is a perspective that she's thinking from, because for her purposes, her mindset, she's already translated that modern women, because she also points out that 40% of women are now the breadwinners, right? And so she was like, wow, we're the breadwinners. We don't need the providers. We don't need the provision anymore because it's not a requirement. It's that now it's, but that's where Jay conversation about partnership come into play. Now for Black women, technically, we did fall for the okie dokie with the feminist movement, right? I ain't gonna lie. We did fall for the okie dokie just a little bit. And as a matter of fact, we should have been focusing more on the womanist movement, which was started by a Black woman, which actually emphasized family versus the feminist movement. Because one thing we didn't recognize was that all of these feminist women all had husbands. So while they were on the stage, these white feminist women all had husbands, but you didn't. And that's because it was an okie dokie. And I understand the okie dokie because you was also gaining benefits and whatnot. And so when she said marriage does not benefit women, that's a lie. You know what doesn't benefit women? Unequal partnership. That's what doesn't benefit women. So if she would have drilled down to that piece and say it's the unequal partnership that may come out of a marriage, that doesn't benefit women, then I would have been like, yo, she right. Because women tired. We tired. Well, I'm not, but women tired.
Not you othering yourself.
You know what I'm saying? I did other myself because I like being married. I love being married.
Talk about it.
So it was one of those things where I was like, oh, wait, she's talking about the unequal partnership. And even in my marriage, there was a point where we had an unequal partnership, i.e. distribution of labor and so forth. And so if she would have mentioned that, then I would have been like, you know what? On that point, you're right. But it's not marriage. It's the unequal partnership. And that's where we need to delineate when we have this conversation. It's not about marriage. Marriage is just the institution, right? It's the structure of the marriage within how you structure your relationship, i.e. 50-50, 100-100, or whatever terminology you want to use, how you structure, how you divide up labor in the household. But it has to work for that couple. It has to work for those people. And once again, when she talked about the stats about married men, married women still outlive their husbands. I don't care, no matter where you cut it by race and everything, women still outlive their husbands.
So y'all killing us.
And so, no, the reason why married men live longer, though, is because they have their wife who's helping them with their appointments, their wife who's nagging them to take better care of themselves and looking out for them and uplifting them and so forth. That's why married men supposedly live longer. So I'm going to say once again, get the fuck out of here with this shit, because marriage benefits everybody who's in the marriage if it's done properly. It benefits everybody if there's a cooperation and collaboration and true partnership. It's just something that we all have to work on as we go through our married life, or even before you get married, trying to show up how you want to be in that marriage. So that's where I'm going to land right there.
Jay, before you go on to the next story, right, I do want to say this, because I think some women are not properly valuing the relationships or the marriages that they have. And so therefore, I can see why they wouldn't see it as a benefit. Like, for example, like when we were talking the earlier story about women who post pictures of dudes or whatever, the truth is she has a piece of a man, and that's okay. Like, okay, maybe that's all you are going to get. And sometimes a piece of a man is really not that bad. Like, so it's like she may not see her friends may not see the value in that, but clearly she does. So I just want to encourage people to recognize the value, even if it's a piece of a relationship. It might just be the only piece that you'll get. So you might as well.
I support the timeshare.
Shout out to the timeshare.
I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead. Like, I feel like a piece of me is, I mean, come on, man. You get 20% of me. Like, you win it out here compared to what I'm here. But anyways, go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. So I'm going to pivot from the conversation between the sisterhood of white women. And I want to talk about maybe there's a problem in the brotherhood of men, particularly even Black men, right? It's like it's hard to have a partner nowadays, right? Everybody's playing really mature. Everybody's playing really masculine, right? Nobody wants to call their homeboy and check on them because they don't want to like they hounding them or something. So I want to just have a talk, if y'all don't mind, about how toxic masculinity, right, and homophobia, right, may have shaped the way men are dealing with each other now. Because clearly, you know what I'm saying, you got the sisters out here saying, you know, we don't need to be married to y'all. So brothers, you better find some men you can lean on. And that might be a problem with the way that we relate right now, right? Everything is no homo. Everything is a pause, you know? And so maybe we should play, you know, oh no, that definitely didn't come out right. Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the part where men are able to communicate. Is that where we are? Are we witnessing the collapse or the rebirth of male intimacy? Is it reshaping? Is it evolving? Is it devolving? And what does healthy brotherhood look like today? You know what I'm saying? Between men, manly men. What do y'all think?
Okay, let me help this a little bit because I feel like we're just a little bit all over the place, just a little bit, just a smidge, right? So this came because was it Dr. Jay Barnett and I think Joe Trudman? I don't know these niggas either, right? But they were on the Breakfast Club and they were talking about how their relationship came about. And I think it was interesting because these were not like guys who went to school together. These are not guys who were in a fraternity or nothing like that. I think one brother saw the other brother from afar. They both, I guess, were doing their thing. And I guess he was drawn to him. And so he reached out. He wasn't sure how Buddy was going to respond, right? And then Buddy, who was a little bit more guarded because he's had past hurts in previous relationships. And so when it came to those new relationships, he was also guarded. And as I was listening to these niggas talk, I was like, it sounds like a relationship with women. For real, right? Because it reminded me of my own experience, right? I remember I moved to New York. And I didn't know anybody. So I'm trying to make friends or whatever. You go to the basketball court, wherever, niggas congregate. Like, yo, let me exchange numbers, man. Yes, what's up, bro? And then you like try to hit the nigga up. Like, hey, man, what's going on, bro? What's happening? You don't hear nothing. You got to hit the nigga back. And then after a while, it's like, wait a minute. Where have I seen this before? Like, you met that chick and you're like, hey, you got a number, you call. And about the third time, like, I'm not going to call this bitch. What the fuck? But my point is that there are ways that trying to forge relationships, just in general, we're only accustomed to seeing it in the lens of romantic relationships, for example, because most of the other relationships that we typically have, they come from proximity, right? Like if you're in a school or in a fraternity or relationships, like you end up kind of just naturally being around people and you cultivate a relationship. But I think what I liked about that was what they talked about was just forging newer relationships and how men have their own experiences with other men in terms of, whether it's hating or somebody did them dirty or just being vulnerable. So I just thought this was an interesting topic because honestly, even myself, and I guess the way that we've been educated or programmed, like especially because we're a little bit older, right? Maybe the younger kids are a little different. But a lot of things were homophobic growing up, bro. Let's go keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things just was like, ooh, let's stay away from that because it didn't represent masculinity. And the funny thing is, even nowadays, when men are even more emotional, women will start calling them certain names, which kind of draws back to the whole thing in regards to the homophobia and stuff like that. So it's something that's rampant for sure in our communities. And I can acknowledge that it wasn't like I was turned off by it. Not that I was turned on by it. Just be clear, pause if necessary. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. But the point is, I just thought that, you see what I did there? I just thought that it was a good conversation because I do think what I'm seeing now more is brothers say, hey man, I love you. I think there has been a movement afoot where brothers are feeling more open and more, vulnerable to talk to their homies about what they're going through. Mental health has become more, in flux in terms of the conversation. So I think it is moving in a different direction, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that I do think that, I guess, whether we want to call it, whatever phrase we want to call it, that it does impact how we view and how we may even engage and even how we initiate or try to develop friendships amongst men. 1000%.
SNM,
welcome.
You think there's
It's a talking show.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your point.
Well, so I was just straight saying this seems to be a male-oriented conversation first and foremost. So I was giving credence and leaning in onto the men first before I provide my commentary, because I actually agree with you, Nic, that the fear of being labeled gay for caring about another man emotionally is killing men's mental health, right? And so I'll go ahead and go though. I love it.
Go ahead, girl.
I love it. So anyways, with that being said, so women, we build friendships, right? And we keep those friendships alive. I have friends that's from 20 years ago. I have friends from elementary school. And I think that men actually need the same emotional space, right? They need the same emotional safe space because if having a drinking buddy is something different from having a buddy who you can be emotionally vulnerable with and have these real conversations with. Yeah, you go to the bar, you can drink or you can go hang out and whatnot, but you're not having deep conversations. You're not actually getting some of that, because there's commentary where they say, well, men shouldn't talk to women about their problems. And that's another thing that also hurts men's mental health and actually causes them manifest itself physically as well. So if you can't talk to your woman about your problems, then why not talk to your buddy about your problems? Because that's where that interchange come into play. So we always talk about women are gossiping to each other or leaning onto each other but that's our friendship, because we're getting things our thought process out, bouncing it off each other, so that we can be better women, better people. And male vulnerability, I think, isn't a weakness. It's actually a sign of maturity. And so it always surprises me when I hear a lot of people like, oh, that's gay, or nigga, you gay. And it's like, wait, why? Because he hugged the dude? Like, he happy to see his man. He ain't seen his man in a minute. And it's like, nah, that nigga gay. Or buy somebody a gift. Oh, that nigga gay. And it's like, well, why is he gay? Just because he's looking out for his friend. He bought him a gift, right? And then it becomes the nuances of what actually makes the person gay. It may not have been the gift that made him gay. It could have been or the type of gift, right? So if you put thought and consideration in it, oh, it's gay. If you don't put no thought and just gave him a gift card or some alcohol, cool, that wasn't a gay moment. To me, I just think that men need to embrace this side of themselves, because part of the reason that I honestly believe that we have what's currently occurring in our community, i.e. the pitting of men against women and so forth, is because, one, I think we talked about this, or not even I know we talked about this earlier, the rise of the red pill community, because it was an opportunity for men to have safe spaces to talk about issues that they were experiencing with women, or talk about issues that they were experiencing, or looking for mentorship for financial literacy and so forth. But what about having that up close and personal? Not just in the ether space, not just on the internet, but up close and personal. Why can't you give your boy a hug and it's a genuine hug? I know there's conversation with Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan and so forth, when they kind of hugged up on each other and folks like, oh, them niggas gay. And it was like, well, no, they're showing affection to each other because that's what we need to do. And as a matter of fact, maybe if y'all hug each other more, we won't be having so many toxicity. I was going to say something else, so let me clean that up. We wouldn't have so many toxic commentary as it pertains to the LGBTQ community, because now you've been able to delineate and differentiate between what's truly considered gay and homosexual versus what's just showing affection.
I've often said that if you're a woman and your man doesn't have any male friends, you're in danger. Men need a brotherhood. Men need someone to show that they can be valued for things other than what women value. It's a whole other affection that men show, and it shows up differently than it does with a woman. And men need that as well. Men need to be valued by other men for their skills, for their insight, just for their presence. And it may be a hug, it may be a gift, but a brotherhood is valuable because nobody builds anything of value by themselves. No man does, or at least it's really, really, really hard. And those social cues that men need to learn, some of those things you learn from other men. Actually, most of them you learn from other men. So calling everything gay, or this is gay, or I even heard some men say going on guys trips is gay. I'm like, we're just going fellowship and hang out and chop it up and smoke cigars in the DR. Like, what are you talking about? That too. But mostly cigars, Hi, honey. So,
oh, sorry, my bad. I forgot I was on a podcast. I was just talking to us.
So yeah, that brotherhood is really important for the development of just not boys, but men throughout their lifetime. It's really, really important. I can't stress it enough. And I see it a lot, especially in the cigar world. There are men that I really care about and I value, and I would be crushed if I found out something happened to them, or if they needed something and I wasn't there for them, or they didn't say anything. I show them love. I show them affection. I dap them up. I give them a hug. Hey, let me chop it up with you. Let me fellowship with you. So those are things that are needed for men's emotional development, and I don't think that is a gay thing.
You pat him on the back too?
That too. Yeah, I pat him on the back. Yeah.
Too?
Well, no, we're not playing sports, so And even if I did, it's got to be open-handed. You can't cup.
Fingers apart.
You guys all had really good takes on it. I think it's sad that men in our community feel like they can't be vulnerable, whether it be with their women or their male counterparts. It's almost like this toxic strength, right? Oh, I don't need anybody. I can figure it out by myself. Like, I'm okay. And it's quite the opposite. It's weak to not be able to go to someone else and actually talk it out or have somebody to bounce stuff off of. We can't do it ourselves. We're not designed to do things by ourselves, to Delvin's point. And it's sad that we've created this culture of teaching our boys real men don't cry and real men don't show weakness, and don't trust anybody and so forth and so on. And it's sad because we as humans, we just all need people we could bounce things off of and lean on and be vulnerable and just break down. And as women, we have that. And it's sad that you as men don't. So I wish that it was made normal. Like, let's normalize men being human and having close male friends and it not being considered gay or sassy. I don't think it's gay or sassy, in my opinion.
So, for my take, the loneliest place to be is trapped in your own thoughts, trapped in your own feelings, right? And no way to express it. And one of the most dangerous places to be is in that very same place. A lot of times men in relationships may have a partner, they have a great partner, supportive partner, but they have a partner that they need to see them as a man in the way their partner defines a man, right? And maybe sometimes showing that chink in their armor at a time when their partner, their wife or whatever, isn't ready to see that, and it's not somehow fractured, right? Her idea of what manhood was or what this person was as a man is something that man can't afford to face. And so it's vital. It's vital that people have those outlets, that men have those outlets with other men, because otherwise we're out here putting on a fight against things and putting on a facade. And we're bearing things we don't have to bear. You know what I mean? Sometimes the guy next to you is going through the very same thing and just nobody mentions it. I will say that, like the two gentlemen were saying on the podcast, introductions can be awkward. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you speak to a stranger, their first idea is that, what does this person want from me? It's distrust, right? We're uneasy about it. I'm not accustomed to some random guy coming and talk to me. To be honest, I do wonder if like, dude, how long have you been watching me before you decide to talk to me? Like, just give me the context to this conversation quickly. And it's not because I'm phobic. It's just because there's not a lot of spontaneous interaction between men when it's not involved with commerce or conflict. And we need to find different ways to communicate, right? Sometimes it does take just being a little vulnerable, letting your guard down, admitting when you have a struggle. You know what I'm saying? Bearing a little bit of yourself, right? And doing it because you understand that some struggles are, you know what I'm saying? They're like to all men in one way, shape, form, or fashion, right? We just don't talk about it. As a person who grew up with a father who passed when I was like real young, like 12 or whatever, right? I would have loved to have had that father, that man in my life that I could have been vulnerable with, right? I was fortunate to have brothers. The relationships are. I joined a fraternity. There are ways that people can find brotherhood, but the reason why people are looking for brotherhood is because, yes, brothers, we all need somebody who is a man that you can say, listen, man, as a man, just man to man, I felt like this. And that man can go, yes, sir, I salute you. You are still in your manhood. And this is how we walk through that thing. So yeah, man, listen, pause all that stuff. Don't let anything get in the way of forming genuine relationships with people about who are being genuine with you. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you gay. And maybe by embracing that idea, as S&M said, we can transcend some of our misunderstandings and our prejudices, right? To make real distinctions between what one thing is and what another thing is. Maybe we don't have to choose to live lives of being locked off in our feelings, right? Maybe we can choose to live openly, but not be gay.
So I want to clarify something real quick, right? Because I felt like in my previous answer, I was trying to answer the question of like, is it a thing? Because I do think it is a thing. So I answered that, yes, it is a thing. But I want to be clear. I agree with it being a thing. Right? I feel like I want to be clear. Okay. I hear what y'all saying, but I felt like I can hear what y'all saying and there's still a line. Cause I gotta be honest. Like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, when's the last time I talked to my niggas and told them some vulnerable shit about me? I'm just trying to be honest. I'm trying to be for real. Right? Now, it may be fair that I have a wife that I can talk to and that I don't feel that if I share with her my deeper, most inner thoughts and fears, she's going to emasculate me. That could be part of it. It could also be that I have a fucking therapist, right? Because I trust strangers more than I trust, professionals who know how to ingest information and provide guidance as you work through it. But you know who are not good at those things? Y'all. Most people. Forget gender, right? Like, so I get why men would not feel comfortable being vulnerable around other men who often show the lack of emotional intelligence to deal with certain sensitive topics and conversations. Like, why would I do that? So like, I get we want that to be a thing, but niggas would have to show up a lot more emotionally intelligent to be able to handle a nigga's vulnerabilities if you so choose to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I am sure there are relationships where men have that emotional safety, and I'm cheering for that. But I'm just being realistic in regards to whether or not why it's not happening. And honestly, aside from the gay piece, because I'm not anti whatever, but the truth is, like, I don't even trust people in general with my emotional shit, because what how are you gonna help me for real? Give me your perspective on my problem? I mean, I get it. So it just may be a me thing in regards to the fact that I do think, yes, male relationships are important, 1000%. But I guess maybe I'm a little old school, because I feel like the certain level of emotional intimacy that I want to have with someone typically is reserved for a small group of people who are generally of the opposite sex. That's just a me thing. You get what I'm saying? And if I gotta work through some real shit, I'm gonna go to a professional. Now, if we kicking it, we talking about hoes and sports and regular guy shit, I need the outlet. I agree with y'all 1000%. But unless y'all can be real enough right now and tell me that, hey, within the last 5 years of your fucking life, right? And I ain't talking about family members either. I'm talking about your homeboys, when you told them about whatever disease you caught, or whatever you told them about whatever ball you had, the most uncomfortable position, when you told them about how you failed when you tried to do X, Y, and Z, right? The litany of real nigga shit that you would have to convince me that y'all niggas aren't doing or would feel comfortable with doing, or let alone comfortable listening to. Y'all niggas sucking advice giving as well. So I get why. So I'm not going to be on this fucking podcast. I get it. Yes, you need outlets. You need friends that you can talk to. But please, for the sake of everything holy and sacred, go get some professional help if you need it. Okay? Because those niggas ain't professionals. Okay? And unless you identify them to be emotionally intelligent enough or to create a safe enough space for you to communicate with them, don't trust them niggas either. Okay? Fuck all that shit they talking about. Find identified people who are emotionally intelligent enough, who are safe enough, and maybe even like professional enough that you can really unload your problems too. Right? Okay? Other than that, okay, I do think that there are boundaries that need to be set. Okay? Like, right? Just to make sure that we're not confusing nobody. You dig what I'm saying? And so I'm not going to pretend I'm that fucking evolved. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I'm still here. I know who to fucking talk to, right? And you got some genuine male friendships, right? Cool. But there is a line. Like, you're not going to be like, yo, dog, your ass looks fat. Jeez, you're not doing that. Okay? You know why? Yo, dog, you think my ass looks fat in these jeans? No, you're not going to do that. You know why? Because that shit is, say it with me.
Not gonna do it with you. I'm not gonna do it. Go ahead.
Yo, I ain't gonna hold you, right? I respect those brothers, and I loved that they shared what they did. And hopefully 15, 20 years from now, when my son grows up, he'll be in a world where what they did didn't happen. But not tonight. I'm sorry. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm just going to say this. So there's this group called Men to Heal. This may be something beneficial for a certain member on the pod, but it's called Men to Heal. And it emphasizes mental health. I appreciate and I actually agree with the getting a professional help, therapist and so forth, because that will actually help you in the long run in regards to your personal growth. The last thought I have is that I want people to stop thinking marriage is the villain. Marriage isn't the villain. It's outdated expectations. It's unequal partnerships. Those are the villains, not marriage itself. Marriage is just the institution that housed the couple. So let's move from thinking that marriage is the villain and it's something that we shouldn't aspire to and we shouldn't want, because it's not true. We should aspire to it. We should want it. It's just the way you structure it that will prove if that marriage is beneficial to you.
Well said.
Yeah,
Jay.
I want to add on to that and say marriage is what you make of it. You know what I mean? It's what you make of it. You garbage in, garbage out. You know what I'm saying? You deliver your best, You put in the best ingredients, you come out with the best product. So, now it's like baking a cake, S&M. We're switching it up. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, just put your all in, folks. And if you and yes, you should always try to find a professional. But hey, that's what friends are for too, man. Talk to your friends. Get you some real friends.
That's what
Go ahead.
friends are for. Yes, Delvin. Any final
Listen.
words?
Great show tonight. I appreciate everybody. Appreciate our special guest, Natalie. And you know what? Listen, I'm going to keep building on this. We are going to flush out the rules and restrictions for the Class A, Class B, and now the newly introduced Class D license. We're going all the way with this. We're going. This is going to be a thing. And you know what? Everybody's name is going to go on the legislation. It's not just me. You guys are the real heroes. We're going to keep building.
Yes, no, that was brilliant. That might have been the takeaway of the show. I ain't gonna hold you. I really did love the whole marriage license thing. That was brilliant because we're solutions oriented. So thank you for that, Delvin. Nat, girl, how you feeling, girl? First
I'm feeling
episode with
great.
us. How you feeling?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Definitely a nice ride for sure.
Was it everything that you thought it was going to be?
And more.
Oh.
And more.
Was it as good for you as it was for us?
Well, I hope at least a couple of you enjoyed it. Maybe not all of you, but I mean, I can't service everyone. Just one person here.
I mean, are you sure? I'm going to leave that alone. But any final thoughts? So normally towards the end of the show.
Yeah. I don't think marriage is a villain either. I know there are some points about it that are points of contention, but also being single is not a villain. And I think that as long as you choose marriage and you marry for the treatment and the person you're with and not for a title, then be, all for it. But if you're okay being single and your mama still call you about, why are you not married yet? I want some grandkids. Sometimes you got to silence that noise and be okay in your singleness. Whatever you want to do, just own it and keep it pushing, but don't make choices based on other people.
Yeah, and let's be clear. We don't, we love single people too. When I hear single, I hear opportunity. So that's how y'all should look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a bad thing to be single. I'll say this because this has absolutely nothing to do with what we talked about today. But Devon Franklin, I think it kind of does actually, because I think, I saw an interview with him with Cam, I think it was, and he really couldn't speak about his past relationship. And so we're encouraging men to speak up. I want to encourage Devon to tell the truth, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth and free your soul. That woman put you through some shit. This nigga said he was in a hotel for a year. You know what I'm saying? Like going through counseling, spiritual counseling, all that type of stuff, right? And Megan Good gets to go on about her life. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, that good Christian brother had to go through hell. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to encourage him and other brothers out there. I get it. You went for the good girl. So now you can't tell the truth about her. I'm saying, fuck that, my brother. Speak your truth, okay? Even though you're happy and you moved on, you have a new beautiful wife who wants to have your children. I'm just saying you should still be encouraged to speak your truth. And I think all of us today did a great job of doing just that, speaking our truth. Before we get up out of here, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch, y'all. Jay and S&M both can get prizes, imaginary prizes for wearing their merch. Yes, I appreciate y'all on behalf of S&M Jones, Just Jay, Delvin the Expert, and Natalie, Smoke with Nat. We'll see y'all next time. Until then, be easy. Peace. And we're back. Listen, I want to be toxic just a little bit longer. So I feel like, this is the portion of the show where if you haven't had something to drink, go ahead and grab something. It's about 10, 15 minutes of a wild ride, which is what most of y'all are used to anyway. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So listen, I'm not sure if you guys saw, I think Cardi B was, on her press run, and she was talking about how men are more respectful of marriages than some of y'all hoochies out there. That's not Nick saying this because I love y'all. Little Girls Trip coming soon. But she is saying that that y'all hoes are less respectful than these niggas out here who she also called dog. She said men are dogs. One of her songs that we were listening to in pre-pro. So she's saying y'all are less respectful than those niggas. Do y'all agree or disagree? Or is Cardi just hurt out here talking her talk? What are y'all thoughts?
Well, I'll come out the gate there, and I'll say Cardi is absolutely right. She is right. Men are more respectful. If a man's in the club, he walks up on a chick, and he's trying to talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm married." Most of them, I know myself, I would slide somewhere else. I'm like, "Oh, you know what? That's great. I'm glad you told me before I bought you a drink. Thank you. Good looking out, girl." You know what I'm saying? Keep it pushing, right? But women, married guy in the club, she's like, "Oh, you married? Oh, girl." And she's like, "Dude, I hate that you're married. I hate that you're taking. Your wife must be lucky." She starts shooting her game based on the fact that you married, right? Some women only holler at married men, right? It's not a lot of men only hollering at married women. It's not. Now, and the other reason why men are more respectful is because if a man is going to mess around with a married woman, he's going to do it and he's going to keep it pushing. Okay? He's not going to stay there and try to get her to call him on the holidays and go on trips and stuff with her, right? He is there, here today, gone tomorrow. But no, the woman, married man, now she want to be a side chick. She want a place. She want a title, right? She want t-shirts, right? She sticks around. That's disrespectful. Now you all up in that people's marriage, right? Now you taking up time and space in their marriage. You could have just blessed it with your presence and kept it pushing, but now you're selfish. So yes, no, men are more respectful than women when it comes to dealing with a person who's married. Men respect marriage more. Headlines.
Jay makes a strong case. Who rebuts this case?
I would be more than happy to rebut this case. And so just like you gave the club analogy, men be in the club looking at married women and they'll ask this question, "But are you happy?" And so for you to say
that's a really good question. He's curious.
Yeah, but they're
It's a follow-up.
asking because they're hoping that you say no, because they're trying to figure out a way to get into them panties still. And so for them to say that men are more respectful, I think Cardi's talking from a place of hurt. You know why? Because I'm sorry, I was ready to call Offset something else. But anyways, because Offset had a plethora of women in his DMs because he never said he was closed for business. He never said like, "Oh, I'm going to be faithful and loyal," even though he pretended like he was going to be faithful and loyal, but he wasn't. He was never. So Cardi is speaking from a place of hurt, because if she was not speaking from a place of hurt, she will recognize that men and women technically still don't respect marriage. Now, Jay, for you to say that he respected more just because he hit it and quit it and went about his business, the fact that he hit it meant he didn't respect that marriage. Now, when you talk about the woman wanting to be the side chick and whatnot, she want an ongoing relationship. But the point is, they both hit it or got hit or whatever the case may be. They both disrespected the relationship. I think men respect the institution of marriage, but not necessarily the women that are actually in the marriage. And I think that's the difference. You can say, "Oh, men respect marriage because once they got a ring on it, men in general will now view that woman, that married woman, in a different status. She become a protected status, but that still doesn't stop him from trying to holler at her. She's just protected in the way that he speak to her or speak about her because he's like, oh, she got a man. So therefore, it's the institution of marriage that they respect. But they sure hell don't respect the women. So now Cardi's speaking from a place of hurt. I call bullshit.
Okay, I gotta push back a little bit. The reason the men asked the follow-up question of "Are you happy?" because they're trying to see if she's going to be married going on forward in the future, the foreseeable future. If she says no, then she's married with an asterisk, right? That means, you know what I'm saying? You hit it and you circle back around. You spin the block, right? So no, ma'am, it still holds true. Men are more respectful. And you try to split a hair there, like the institution of marriage. But that's what marriage is. It's an institution. So men are more respectful of the institution of marriage. Thank you for proving my point.
No, I did not prove your point. I'm going to tell you how I didn't
You
prove
did say
it.
that, though.
No, I'm going to tell you how. Because first of all, I said basically like the title, but they don't respect the women that are actually in the marriage. That's why they're still willing to shoot their shot. That's why you can sit there and say, "Oh, he hit it once and kept it moving," which meant he respected the marriage. That's bullshit, because he didn't respect the woman in the marriage itself. So no, I disagree with you still. And as a matter of fact, half of my DMs is fucking married. It's full of men trying to holler, even though I'm married. So
you pull out the
you
DM
can't tell
evidence.
me. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Not the receipts.
I'm
Not
just saying.
anecdotal.
Hey, but the other half is women.
It's not. It's not even what I'm saying. Look, first of all, we're not going to do all this bullshit capping on the show today. Since this is the overdrive piece where y'all acting like men don't be in women's business, i.e. in their DMs, or acting like men not trying to break up marriages just because they hit it. You know what I'm saying? So
Not
now
as
we'll
often.
acknowledge one point. They do just want to hit it. That still don't mean they respect the marriage.
Okay. I hear you, S&M. I feel like Jay called you out for splitting the hair. I think he was right about that. Like you said that you agreed that maybe the institution or the paperwork or the spelling of it versus whatever else that is splitting your hair though. You don't think so?
Okay, so this is why I don't think I split the hair. Because when I talk about the institution, I'm saying that the women who are married all of a sudden get a slightly protected status, but it's only in regards to the man, i.e., well, let me not talk to her a certain way, because she's married. That's what I'm talking about. So when you in these clubhouse streets, an example, or in the streets on the social media and whatnot, the minute someone says they're married, that's when men's tone change and they respond differently, but it doesn't
Respectfully.
stop them from hollering at the women who are in the marriage because they still want to shoot their shot.
Okay, gotcha. So they may be more respectful after they find out that they're married, but they still holler. Okay, I got you. Okay, I got you. Delvin, Natalie, who's more respectful?
100% of the times I've observed guys dealing with married women, my own personal experience, and what I've observed in the wild, the married woman slid on the guy. Guys are not out trolling for married women like we at the club or we're at the bar. I'm like, ooh, she got a ring on her. Let me pull up and see what she's talking about. Guys are not doing that. Does it happen? Yeah, I'm not denying that. But does it happen in mass? No. Not at all. Like I said, I will go on record 100%. And not only that, the women I know that have been married and they got divorced, the minute that they got divorced, again, posting it on social media, we knew that she got divorced because all the pictures of her husband or boyfriend, all 8,000 pictures of them, they're all gone. The minute that happens, her DMs are lit up like a Christmas tree. So guys have probably been hanging out in the cut and checking for signs of unhappiness. I'm not denying that. But as soon as the unhappiness is confirmed and she is back on the streets, they are in her inbox. I mean, you got some creeps that they're just, checking. That's what Aisha Curry is looking forward to.
Not too much on Aisha Curry. Not too much.
Listen, no, she's complaining now. Like her DM is dry. I promise you, if it goes live, I'm divorced. Her DMs are going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. Nobody's in her DMs right now because we respect the institution of marriage. We respect her husband. The minute she said, "Hey man, I'm back on the streets," okay, it's fair game. Her DMs is lit up like a Christmas tree.
This should be a ho ho ho. No, I'm kidding. It's a Christmas tree. I tried. Natalie, what are your thoughts? I feel like you was talking some smack in pre-pro about this topic. No, did I misremember that?
No, you're not misremembering.
So you agree men are more respectful then?
I will say this. I am not a married woman, so I can't speak from like personal experience. And because if I do, it's going to be heavily weighted toward married men don't respect. Like married men are, obviously more likely. But I do think there's some truth to the women also being culprits. Just based on the facts or the opinion stated by other panel members. But also, I think that the level of respect also goes to that husband, the married woman's husband status. I think Aisha Curry gets a pass because a lot of men can't compare to Steph. So they're not going to step to her because they can't even fill his shoes. Whereas Keisha around the corner messing with Johnny, okay, that may be a little bit something that a person might be willing to dabble a little further with or explore a little bit more. So I don't disagree with anybody's points. And I just don't think I have a solid argument to stand on anything solidly.
Okay. Either way, you're saying. Either way. I appreciate that honesty. Wow. Yeah. Go you. Nah, for real. So, woo. Okay, listen. The question I thought was who's more respectful, right? So, yes, can both people be, doing the wrong thing? Absolutely. But I think there's one reason why I would agree that men are more respectful, and that would probably be the fear of consequences to a certain extent, right? Like, I think, there is more danger afoot if I'm finna go out there and holler at somebody and she got a man attached to her who got testosterone and energy and, you know, maybe a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's a little different because some women aren't threatened by the other women. You know what I'm saying? In fact, they're like, I'm going to take your man. I've never heard, like, I mean, maybe I've heard a guy, I'm going to take your girl. You know, Mr. Steal Your Girl, it was a cool song, but like in real application, I don't think dudes was really moving like that, right? That's number one. Number two, if a man asks you if you're married and you say yes, and he then follows up and says, hey, but are you happy? What's more respectful than that? It's not like you said, hey, I'm married. And he's like, hey, girl, I'm going to hold at you even more. No. The fact that he would ask a follow-up question just to ascertain whether or not you are satisfied in the relationship that you signed up for, that's still respectful, right? But on the converse side, there are some women who aren't even doing that. I don't even think of the last time a chick asked me if I was happy, you know what I'm saying, in my relationship. Not that women really care about men's happiness anyway, so maybe that's why it's not in y'all bag. It's game. You know what I'm saying? But, so I think for those reasons, yeah, I'm going to say men are more respectful for the fear or the consequences that comes with, you know, dealing with, you know, other dudes, women. And I think that there is a such thing as being more respectful, like to Jay's point earlier, or maybe in pre-pro, where it's like dudes are not calling at 12 o'clock at night knowing you laid up with your husband, right? If you have two people who are engaging in pretty much similar behavior and one person is doing some fuck shit like that and another person is not, one is being more respectful of your marriage. Right? You chose to make time for me on the side. That ain't got nothing to do with me, but because I respect you and your marriage, I'm going to confine the time that we spend together based off of when you're available. I'm not going to call you out of pocket. I'm not going to be having no brother-to-brother conversation with your nigga. To me, by far, that is more respectful. So the argument of, oh, well, if it's disrespect, it's blatant. No. There's levels to this shit. There's levels. And unfortunately, when it comes to the depth upon which that y'all women folks will go, oh, there's no levels then, right? Because y'all go low with it. You know, taking pictures. Oh, I'm with your nigga. You know what I'm saying? Showing clues like, hey, you see that? You recognize that painting, girl? That's messy as fuck. In fact, I'll land by saying this. Some of y'all are so disrespectful that y'all try to kill the first relationship. What's more disrespectful to the relationship than murder in the first degree? At least most side niggas have the good decency and wherewithal to stay in their lane, continue to game what they game, and just stay out the frame. You heard what I'm saying? And whether you believe it or not, that is respectful as fuck compared to the shit that y'all be doing. I rest my case,
I'm going
Jay.
to push back before you rest your case. Okay, everything you said is fair, but is that more because women are more selective and we choose partners if we do step out? We're better at vetting, whereas men were more likely to take on some more unsavory potential side pieces, because women are very, if we do step out, it's methodical, it's calculated, and we're going to take the road of minimal risk. So there's going to be more of a process with vetting who we choose to side piece with. So yeah, I think your point is right, but I think it falls more on the married person than it does the person they chose to cheat with.
I'm going to meet you halfway on this, and I think this is a great way, right? Because I mean, I love Black women, so you know. But so I'm going to meet you halfway. I do think you're right that maybe women are making better choices when it comes to cheating, but I also think that guys in general, there's a certain guy code. Like, we're not going to have that woman-to-woman conversation that y'all feel comfortable doing. We're not going to sit there and try to do too much because we understand what it is. So there's just a difference between, I think, generally how men move when they're the side versus how women move. You know what I'm saying?
I would also add that I think that Natalie's reference proves the point in the sense that if there's more of a thing in the pool, you're going to pull out more of those things. So there are more women in the pool who move like that. So when men go pulling out, they're more likely to pull that out, as opposed to there being men as equal body of men in the pool. The women pull a man, they get that. So I think that what you're looking at is it doesn't prove the point. It's just you have to zoom out into the larger circumstance. More women tend to, they make songs about it. You don't ever hear a dude making a rap song about you. And I'm, actually they do. That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. You're right. Okay. But
It was a diss though. That
was a diss track. Right. You're right. It was intentional. But in the normal flow of the conversation in pop culture, it is not an eyebrow raiser for a woman to get disrespectful, and even if a man's married, into their relationship while she tries to continue a relationship with that man.
Yeah.
So,
plus there's consequences. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think I understand your perspective now. So my perspective was coming from the first moment of meeting the person as far as the level of respect. You guys' perspective is coming from the fact that once you're engaged in the relationship or the side piece relationship, that's where the levels of disrespect comes into play.
I'm not even giving it the first, because if someone mentioned the voice change, right? When a woman tells a man she's married, his voice usually does not raise an interest. His voice may stay the same level of interest, like, oh, well, are you happy? Right? Same level of interest. Or he may go down like, oh, you know what? I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? You're gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to take you out. He does that, right? You tell if a man tells a woman that he's married, oh, for real? Oh, your wife must be she's so lucky. If I'd never let you go, her interest goes up more than it goes down, right? It's attractive that he's married. So no, disrespect. Y'all just gonna have to wear it. Just gonna wear it tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to agree with your point there. I'm going to agree with the point that you guys made after y'all already have engaged in the disrespect in regards to that. Yes, women do show up, and basically they're showing up in a way to mess that relationship up because they're trying to be the next one. And so I would agree with that point of the woman once y'all already started the disrespect. But in regards to the first part, men and women, I believe, are disrespectful by just, but hey.
But SNM, I'll say this. I would want to agree with you because I always, I love Black women, right? But I was going to say that I think just by the nature of the fact that men are the hunters, like that's going to skew all of this to a certain extent, right? If it's even close to even, then it's women, right? Because typically guys are the ones who are going to initiate stranger interaction. Hey, what's up, shorty? What's your phone number or whatever? So yes, we're going to be more inclined to, on the front end, be the ones who kind of push past that. And part of it is because we know some of y'all will push past. So I just think it skews the part of it because women aren't necessarily the ones who are initiating it. But to Jay's point, though, the way women do it, though, is way more surreptitious and I think way more effective. Whenever a woman would say certain things to me in front of I'm like, yeah, I already know what time it is. In my head, like a woman will say shit like, girl, you so crazy. How do you even deal with him? And I think to myself, she wish you like to find out in my head. And I'm like, my wife is right here. I wish that if I was a nigga, yo, dog, how you doing, her, bro? That shit would not land. Any other thoughts before we get out of here? Anybody want to promote anything? Anybody before we get out of here? Let's start with Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, I just want to give a shout out to and thanks to the Miss Corporate America Pennsylvania pageant. No gay, no homo, whatever you got to say there. They have asked me to come on board as a life coach for the pageant contestants. I'm very excited. Yes, very, very excited. So
change your life, Jay.
Yeah, I'm trying to touch one life at a time, sometimes 3 or 4 at a time, but that's in my personal life. So,
Don't touch them.
Serious notes though. If you are a prolific businesswoman in Philadelphia, we'd love to hear from you, or in Pennsylvania at large. You know what I'm saying? We're here for you. Nominate yourself. Come on with it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. SNM?
So as always, you see Black Women Need Love 2, a book about relationships, self-love, and community. However, what you don't know is I also write horror, and we are in spooky season. So be sure to check out Whispers in the Dark and Whispers in the Dark Descent into Madness if you like the thrill of the chase and blood, guts, and gore.
Yes, blood, guts, and gore right around Halloween time.
Exactly. We're in spooky season.
Nice.
Yes. Delvin, anything else you want to slang out here, my brother?
Man, listen, Paul, yeah. Listen, I'm just trying to I'm still taking my notes, man. I'm gonna write this legislation, man. That's what I'm gonna be working on, and I'm gonna push it. And I'm excited about spooky season. We got our costumes already. So I'm going to Natalie's Halloween event, and I'm gonna dress up and I'm gonna get some candy, hopefully, and
Yes.
some popcorn balls.
What's your
Awesome, sir.
can you tell us what your costume is?
Oh, we're doing like a horror murderer type of thing. We're gonna be like a murder couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Committing crimes
Okay.
and felonies this spooky season.
Y'all finna kill it then.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all gonna kill
Literally.
it. Yeah.
Natalie, how about you, girl?
Yeah, so follow me on Instagram. I am She Smokes Cigars. No dots, no underscores. I am verified. Do not click on the other people. I am verified. I have some events coming up. So my people in the Houston market, just check out my page and see my upcoming events. And thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself.
Yes, we enjoyed having you. And listen, y'all, check out the merch. Check out the, glow up, all that good shit. And we'll see y'all next time. Until then.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye. We love you.
Bye.